Thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to show you some of the innovations we've been working on that use AI to forward qualitative research and then the teaching and learning of qualitative research. We're going to cover best practices and how to use different features within the tool to easily work with AI to support your research. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So AI functions as a virtual qualitative analyst that produces reliable, valid, and comprehensive results and almost immediate codes and themes that address research questions. So although we're going to highlight vetting all of the AI output, it's pretty fast and comprehensive. So first, I want to talk about basically three kind of use cases or domains. One is learning, one is teaching, and one's for your actual research. And I'm going to show four kind of impacts around that. So, everyone, there's check boxes in each one of these. Everyone needs to know what technology is out there. Everyone has heard of AI and ChatGPT and maybe other LLMs. Great. But what has happened with those, with these LLMs to forward research? What's actually out there? That's what we're going to be covering today. Secondly, time to teach and learn the arc of research. Lots of courses or particular programs, particularly professional programs, don't really have the time to delve in deeply into every single aspect of qualitative research. So, these tools can really help at least plug into different aspects of, how do I excerpt, or how do I code or thematize or tie them together, and then tie them to the research questions. So you'll find that AI is a great tool to be able to tap into that arc of qualitative research. Accuracy and comprehensiveness. Human analysts can easily overlook critical patterns buried in passages. The overwhelming amount of data and complexities of narratives create significant challenges for data coding, and especially for minimally trained coders. The AI tool minimizes the risk by systematically scanning and coding text, ensuring that significant data is not missed. Further, AI can uncover patterns and themes that might provide a broader perspective of the data. AI cannot be overwhelmed by too much information. In fact, the more information improves the fidelity of the analyses. This capability is crucial for understanding novel insights and deepening our understanding of the research topic and its supportive data. So for sure, research and researchers will find it incredibly helpful. And finally, mitigating bias. Let's say that human biases can influence the coding and thematizing process. We all know this, but it could potentially skews the results, in unintended ways. Human analysts use their cognitive concepts to interpret ambiguities with narratives often without awareness of their imposition of meaning. Training human analysts is another variable that brings biases into the qualitative analyses. Whether research associates are novices or experts, their analytic capabilities are biased by their cognitive frameworks. AI algorithms, conversely, designed to be impartial, can help mitigate these biases by providing consistent and objective analysis of the data. All right, so we've talked about some of the impacts for learning, teaching, and research. I want to say something about the way that the data is formatted and just open up different options for you. So what's very traditional, if you were using chat on your laptop, or if you were playing around with other kinds of tools, is that one typically puts in the entire interview. That's this option here, right? So whether an interview question is asked in the beginning or question is asked at the end of the interview, those excerpts might wind up in the same code. So by putting in the interview from beginning to end, you will get broad, interconnected focus around the entire interview. So it allows excerpts and codes with greater breadth that crosses interviewer questions. And again, that's a very traditional way of doing it. And I wanted to highlight two other ways that are more focused. And that is, you can organize your data prior to inputting, organize your interviewer question by the interviewer question. So when you go to use AI to excerpt and code, it's going to be narrowly focused right around that question. It's not going to be pulling things from other parts of the interview. Similarly, you can organize your data by research question or study aim. Again, it's going to narrow that focus with not allowing for those interconnections of other parts of the interview. So I just wanted to highlight that you don't necessarily have to put the data in this very traditional way. Alrighty, best practices. So this is a protocol, not the protocol, a protocol of how to use AI and Intellectus Qualitative in particular. One way of going through this. So first you would upload the data in the way that you wanted to format it, given this. Okay. So upload. You can also upload audio or video files, and we can transcribe that for you. We want to emphasize that the reading and rereading of the qualitative data, you don't get to eliminate that. So you still have to read and reread all of your transcripts and all of your data, narratives. So when you go to vet these excerpts and codes and themes, that you have a sense of this is accurate or this is not accurate. So you need to have that expertise in it. And ditto for your additional folks doing rating. So moving into the AI, the AI is now able today, which I'll show you, is able to excerpt and create codes. We call it inductive auto coding. We also have deductive auto coding if you have codes, but the inductive auto coding is you put the interviews in, and it will derive the excerpts that are appropriate, A, name a code, and B, and then C, describe that code. So that is a cool feature that no more blank paper. I mean, you really have a basis to get started with this. Then step 4, you really have to, revise or refine what you found there. So you need to go through and say, okay, does that code and that code description and those excerpts hang together? Does that make sense? Okay. And then you're able to edit that or add other codes, and I'll walk through that. The next step, 5, is really generating themes. So we've developed a proprietary kind of technology that really looks for the optimal number of themes, given the amount of codes that you have and the codes that you have. Okay, and it will decide on the number of themes and then put those codes together, name that theme, and then describe that theme. So again, there's three things that are happening there, which is an innovation as opposed to which codes go together. Of course, you can do that manually, and I'll show you that as well. In 6, just as in 4, we now have to really refine and evaluate that, right? So, do these codes really go together with these themes, given my expertise in that data? 7 is another innovation. So this is, now that we have excerpts and codes and themes that have been vetted, now how do these tie together with the research questions or the study aims? Well, our technology actually buckets particular themes within research questions and then provides a rationale for that. So that's really an important part of completing that arc, as we see it, of thematic analysis. And then, of course, you can download all of this into an editable Word document. And in fact, you would, edit your rationale there or something of that sort. All righty. So I think we can get right to it now. So let's just jump into the tool. Oops. If I can. Okay. So this is what the tool looks like. Pretty Google-esque. So it's a web-based tool, and this is what it looks like. So the first thing we want to do is to create a project. So to do that, I'm going to create a project, and we'll talk about digestive issues. Okay. Now, we also have a place to put in a purpose statement and research questions that the AI will use as context, particularly for that tying together the themes to the research questions, of course. So I'm going to put in a purpose statement, as you can see here. All right. And then I'm going to add two research questions. That's one. And we'll grab the second one. Okay, so we have the purpose statement, and then the general research questions are, what are the experiences of people with digestive disorders, A, and then B, how do people with digestive disorders really cope with them? So that's the beginning of the project. And hit submit. The next step is to upload data. So there's three kind of ways to get data into the tool. One is to upload Word or PDF files. The second is to upload audio or video files and let the tool transcribe that. Or third, you can start typing or paste in a file into that. So I'm going to go to upload files, and I'm going to grab these two files here, okay, and open. Okay, ready to use, check, check. And here's my two, and these are about 15 pages each, so they're not totally extensive. What I found is that whether you have 30 pages or 300 pages, it's about the same time to do these AI tasks. So there's not it's not a linear relationship between the size of the document and the time of processing. All right. So we have our transcripts here, and now we're going to go to AI tools and go to inductive coding. So what's happening now is that the AI is looking for important passages to excerpt and then figure out what code name and description should be assigned to that passage or passages. I typically say, as we wait a minute or two, that we live in a very, very instantaneous world where I Google something and I get a response in a moment. So it's really not the difference between my instantaneous responses, okay, and the 2 minutes we'll wait here. On average, it's about 1 minute and 11 seconds, but a few minutes. It's really, what is it going to take to go through yet again those 30 pages or 300 pages and find 55 excerpts and 6 codes. Once we have that, I'm going to apply that to the project. And here's my interviews. And so here is my 6 AI codes. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is to go into each and every one of these into details, and I want to read this suggested code name and suggested description of that. Okay, so experience with IBD, dietary intolerances, okay, and then go through and read the excerpts to make sure that, hey, these really hang together with that code name. You might want to say, well, that doesn't really hang with it. I can unassign that excerpt from that code. Okay, that's one thing. I can also say, well, I need more context here. So I can go to that and then actually, if I want to, expand the excerpt. Okay. So that's the inductive auto-coding feature. Now, as I'm going through it, I can also add other excerpts to these. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit. I can also add other excerpts to the existing codes by, if I'm reading through this, and I say, that's tied to dietary changes and their impact, and just hit the plus button. And now I've assigned that excerpt to that code. You can also add other codes if you're reading through this and say, well, this is interesting, an interesting pattern, but I'm not sure what to name that. I can also go to add code and go to AI assist in a very short order, able to have a suggested code name and code description for that excerpt. All right. So we have our inductive codes with passages. We've seen how to add an excerpt to an existing code, how to create and get a suggestion for a name of a code. And of course, you could also, do it manually as well. All right. So after we've vetted that carefully, now we move on to the next part of the process, which is to get the themes. So here I would go to automatic thematizing. So what's happening here is we are deciding how many themes should there be, okay? And then which codes go with which themes. So here are really statistical analysis and AI is coming up with these 3 themes, okay? And I can apply them to the project. And what the tool has done is it's grabbed those 3 themes: comprehensive holistic healing journey, dietary changes, navigating chronic illness, and then tucked in those codes underneath that. The researcher's job or student's job is to now go into that theme and say, okay, theme is comprehensive holistic healing journey. Read through the description and edit that if you would like. And then you can make sure that these codes make sense with that. Now you might say, I really want to focus on holistic healing, holistic approaches, and not have treatment and healing there. Maybe it's a separate theme. Okay, so I can just X out of that if I wanted. Now I have, that theme. I can just close that. So now I have a unassigned code. I can look to tuck that into, I can move that into a different theme if I wanted to, or I can use this tool here, add theme, to have an AI assist for treatment and healing journey, okay? And let that suggest a theme, name, and description for that. So we're kind of getting a little bit into details around how to navigate around thematizing. Okay, I can add that. All right. Okay, so now we have themes, all right, with codes underneath them. All righty, so I'm going to move on to the second to last step, which is going to the insights document. This is really where we're building our results document. But in particular, we're going into this research question rationale functionality. So here, what the tool is going to do is we're going to pick a research question. Okay, now I can select, well, let me just use the AI feature first. Based on this question, I can use the AI to suggest which themes go together with that. So they suggested these 3 themes go with that research question. And you can see that that's selected there. Okay. And then submit. So what's happening now is we're tying together this research question. Okay. What are the experiences of people with digestive disorders with this one theme, navigating chronic illness, medical, social, and personal dimensions. Now, here is the rationale for why that theme should go with that question. The theme, navigating chronic illness, medical, social, and personal dimensions, is crucial in answering this research question about the experiences of people with digestive disorders. The theme sheds lights on the complex journey individuals with digestive disorders go through from struggling to obtain an accurate diagnosis to proper treatment, et cetera, et cetera. And then here are the codes that went with, that was subsumed under that theme. This is the next theme that's under that research question, that rationale, codes. And finally, for the last piece of it, which is, here's the last theme that goes with that research question. Okay, all right. All right. Now I can also go and go to my next research question. And I believe I didn't pick. So let me just say that I know this theme well. I know it goes with that question. Hit submit. So I can also do this in a manual fashion. And the advantage here is that I have my second research question, and then I have a rationale for why that theme should go with that research question. And then I can download this document. Bigger. So now I can edit that rationale if I would like. And this is starting to build out that document, that results document. Okay, so you have editable document there. If you wanted just the theme descriptions and so forth, I can, select the theme, select some representative excerpts. So this is just another way of kind of grabbing some of that data. Alrighty, so that is the, let's see if I can get this. So that's basically the arc of that best practice using AI, in particular with Intellectus Qualitative. Let me just touch on the courseware that goes with this. So we've developed 20 competency-based lessons that can accompany a qualitative course. And competency-based, which is students, well, faculty can be upskilled, but students, those grades will go to faculty gradebook. And it has these other features, objectives and vocabulary list and quizzes and things of this sort. And then you can just really dig into any of these different lessons, okay? And one of which are very tied to using the tool. And this is all available for everyone to review as well. So we'll provide contact information in a little bit. And you can try out the tool, have a demonstration of the tool, or even review the lessons. So I think with that being said, I'm gonna grab my colleagues and say, Ms. Moran or Melissa, are we Do we have any questions from folks?
There are a few in there.
Okay, great. So Q&A. All right. So we have a lot of people triaging this. How accurate is okay, Marlon's, so I guess answer the question. So how accurate is the AI transcription? We're really using Amazon. They say 85% accuracy. And again, if Marlon if anybody wants to hop in, but I think that's the number it's given. There's a lot of so don't want to push you away from you should obviously read, right? You should listen to it and read it and have the transcription be a basis of that. And then read through that to make sure that the audio or the video aligns with the transcription. Okay.
We have a couple of people asking if they can put the codes in the AI will use or about the deductive. So
Okay, got it.
Open that up and show them, or
yes. So great. So we also have, and I try to keep it very AI centered, but we can go here and import so I should start a new project, correct? Let me do this. So let me just create a new project. Okay, so I'll say deductive. Okay, deductive example. Okay. Let me just do this. Okay, so I'm going to import a code book. I think this code book will work. So what the code book has done is really we have codes and descriptions, but no excerpts. Okay. All right. So now I can upload my data files again in the views. So in this way, this may well be the use case that you're involved with, which is, you know what, we've set up the set of interviews. We have the codes, but we want to start applying these codes to brand new transcripts or other data down the pike. So I have my data, I have my codes and descriptions, but you see the zeros, there's no excerpts tied to that. Now I can go to AI tools and go to deductive, which is now scanning those 30 pages for excerpts that are relevant to those codes. All right, let me see if I could answer any other questions while I'm doing this. Well, or maybe I'll just be patient for a moment. Okay, just takes a few moments. Okay, so we have our 6 codes. By the way, if there were no excerpts for a particular code, this is the number of codes it's using with these excerpts. So let me just apply those 104 excerpts, and then you can see that these excerpts, was it 104? I think that's right. Okay, so 60. Okay, so we have the 104 sitting here, and then again, you can go in, look at the details, and then examine those excerpts for that code. All right. Did that answer the question okay? Are we there? And then of course you can see where it's excerpted. Okay. And when you click on it, you can see which code that's tied to. So this one's tied to this. All right. Am I doing this right? Okay. So this one's tied to this and so forth. Okay. One premise made is that intellectus mitigates bias. Well, I know where this is going, but we'll go there. However, if trained on existing data where bias may be pervasive, how does this argument hold up? So let me get your argument. So, well, let me just say, AI mitigates human bias. We also have AI bias, right? So let's just, be fair about that. So the human analyst can go through code, excerpt, thematize, kind of research questions with their bias. We're all biased human beings, of course, and then AI is going to have its own particular bias. So, I guess what I would say is that it mitigates human bias. It adds AI bias, but you can evaluate it yourself. So, does the rationale for why a theme belongs to a research question include stats? The number of times it was mentioned in the transcript. No. So I think so we don't have those stats. So it wouldn't be the themes mentioned. It would be maybe the excerpts, the number of times the excerpts is related in there. Maybe that's something that we can get to. But at the moment, no. How does the transcript keep the authorship, who said what, of the quote with the interview sample? So how does the transcript, okay, we're here, keep the authorship? Well, okay. So that's a good question. So this is Brett and this is Sarah's. And then when we go here and go to details, okay, you can see here Sarah, okay. We go over here, we go over to here, details. Sarah, Brett. So that's how it goes. So when it excerpts it, it grabs it by this. You do have to be a little bit careful if you're putting things in by research question or by interviewer question, just to make sure that that's put in separately. But that's how it's tied together.
I think it's also important, once you have your transcripts uploaded, if you wanted to add something about who said it, that's editable, just like a Word document.
How can doctoral students use this in their dissertation as it relates to plagiarism? So these are all suggested, suggested excerpting codes, themes, and tying together rationale. So, you can edit all of these things. And I think you can, cite us as the tool, but you are the author and the final, person of that. So I think I would just cite the tool. Maybe there's more to be said about that, but okay. Ethically, how do you credit AI? So we use lots of different LLMs. So I think I would just cite the tool, which you can do. Let's see here. You can just cite the tool, but I don't think this is an evolving thing, but I don't think we're citing all the LLMs that are being used. Because I think it's a confabulate, it's lots of different inputs going on there.
And again, these are just suggestions. It's helping you along the way. So you need to be the expert and edit everything that comes out and review everything.
Exactly. Can you pair different types of data, participants interview, with associated documents? Can AI understand the connection between different data sources? I think we haven't really done extensive work with these are observations, these are interviews. My guess is that narrative, it's still going to work just fine. So we have not done that. And my guess is that's going to do just fine. How can I provide an explanation to an editor to how I did the analysis? I just say I used AI. Again, I would just cite the tool, right? Which is an AI qualitative tool. And that's what I would do. Like I would, cite Intellectus statistics for the tool I use to help analyze quantitative data. I would say I use Intellectus qualitative to analyze qualitative data. I would do. Are there disciplines, fields of learning, specific libraries that the AI tool uses while creating codes? So it's using the whole corpus of that training data sets. By the way, we have, enterprise level APIs, that is connections, that do not use any of this for training, right? So your stuff is safe in transit when it's stationary. So nothing's being used. So I don't think that this is early. It's a great question, because I do think that if we have this conversation in 2 years, we're going to have different LLMs, large language models, for healthcare, for human resources, and so forth. And preloading all of those pretty darn smart, preloading all of those theoretical frameworks and so forth. So I think that's coming, but it does pretty good with a wide variety of disciplines. In your inductive process, the codes seem to be questions that you ask, not the answers provided. Am I misunderstanding the process? That's where some editing comes in. So that could probably be tweaked to make sure there is no reason that the questions are not a code. All right. But that is probably a tweak that needs to happen, and we've thought about that. But that's where your reviewing of it is saying, that code doesn't work. These other ones make a heck of a lot of sense. What would be the benefit of using Intellectus Qualitative over Max QDA? I cannot speak to Max QDA with AI. What I do know is that we have sought to make a very, very user-friendly, I guess everybody says it, but you've seen what we've done to, generate a draft document with the researchers' help. So I don't know what any of these other folks are really doing, frankly. And I'll leave that up to you to sort out. I don't feel as though we're going against anybody, or so I'm not sure what all they're doing. My guess is that no one has our proprietary algorithms to support. So we can get there again. My guess is that no one at the moment has the proprietary way of really automatic thematizing. I don't think that's out there in the world, except for us. I don't think that anyone has the research question, theme, rationale piece. So again, you can look for yourself, but my guess is these are novel innovations. And I don't think other folks have courses either, by the way. So, and they will not have our superior support. So I'll say two points for our support. We really work with you to get things going. Can you validate the propositions using the tool? So, validation is a tough animal, right? So the research has not been done, but it's going to be up to you to say that you can go through and do this process manually and then come back and use this if you'd like as a researcher, right? Obviously, the tool is going to be great for teaching and learning. But doing research, you may want to go through the whole process to make sure, am I comprehensive in all of these excerpts and all of these codes and all of these themes? Does my rationale seem appropriate or reasonable? So, and then you can validate it yourself. So it's a tricky business speaking to that. That's why we really emphasize at every step of the process to really evaluate. So that's evaluating for accuracy. Fair question. How can we do reliability checking for the code for the coding process? So we've done some internal reliability of can we get the same amount of codes, the same excerpts and so forth? So, there's excellent overlap between run to run for the excerpts. Well, there's two types of reliability here. One type of reliability is, am I getting the same excerpts and codes and names? You can rerun that. It's not designed for that. I think it's really your vetting of it and knowing, your data well. But there's another aspect of reliability, which is, well, there's two things going on here. One, we do have a kappa analysis. Um, I need to go back to a project that has things. So we do have a integrated reliability kappa here. And there's some, so for the different themes, okay, we are looking for agreement between the excerpt and the excerpt and the theme, okay, and say, does it agree with that or not? Okay, so we do have some integrated reliability here. It's particularly helpful if you start changing things to see what that kappa is from prior to post change. We also are, next up is making it easy for you to do manual kappas. So being able to have a link that goes to raters that they can do the matching task between the excerpt and the theme and see if it agrees or not. So that's coming. Have you compared AI analysis with the same data sets analyzed by highly qualified qualitative research to see to the extent to which the outcomes are similar? We've done some, but we can use a heck of a lot more. So if folks have done their analyses, which I'm sure there are folks on this call, if there are folks that have done their analyses, we are very happy to use the tool to walk through these and do those comparisons. So happy to do that. Thank you for presenting this really fascinating advancement in healthcare. What is the third parties that is used with this AI? I'm not sure what that question means. What are the third parties? So we lots of LLMs and lots of other statistical analysis, and then proprietary prompts and so forth. So I'm not sure that gets at it, but all right. If we have a group project, will each member need to purchase this license? Is there a license for a group of researchers? So thank you for the question. So one is that you can share projects, okay? So you can share these projects with colleagues so everyone has them to work on them in a serial fashion, but you can share the projects or export and import that code book. So that would be one kind of use case. And yes, once you get to different tiers, the prices go down considerably. We wanted to really do this on a case-by-case basis to say, we want to look at your particular use case, and then Ashley or Melissa can, address those. Okay. If I have 10 interviews, should I download them individually, conduct the inductive auto coding to get individual excerpts? Yeah, that's the typical use case. So that's what that is the use case, the usual use case, I'll say. Is it recommended to start with AI-driven analysis, then have several people on the product evaluate the AI recommendations as you would doing without AI? So start with AI-driven analysis. It really varies. I mean, so I'll say for researchers, you may want to go through it yourself first. I mean, you're doing that reading, rereading, but in a very short order, to be able to get excerpts, codes, themes, and tie to research questions in, 7 minutes. I mean, that's not a bad place to start either. So that's a possibility. You can do it either way. Front end, use AI and start vetting it and adding to it, or going through it and then looking to make sure everything is comprehensive. Is it okay? Next question. How do we know that the number of codes that the software identifies is valid and appropriate? that is your job. So these are suggestions. So we've made sure that there's no hallucinations with that was a trick. No hallucinations in the excerpts. So you have to validate those, and that's with your expertise in that data. I use a different machine learning based software tool, generate statistics to show which number is most appropriate. That's in fact, kind of what we do with the thematizing, coming up with that. But maybe we'll look at that for the optimal number of codes based on the number of excerpts. So that's something that we can look at. Who has developed the code book? So you would be developing the code book. So AI or researchers. So the answer is really both, right? So here, I open this up. So I have used AI for this whole arc, but I can go here and now export that code book. Okay. So you've developed, I don't know if I can find it. Do I have it here? So you can export an AI code book and then share it with others. Or if you go through the process yourself manually, you can then have your code book here and then export it and import it. So I think the answer is both. Okay. Does the interview stay confidential and not spread in the dark web? So yeah, folks are using it in the dark web for we talked to someone who's doing fentanyl research on the dark web and grabbing data from that. So those APIs, they have, and what we can send you, wherever this person is, we can send you our security agreements with that. And let me see if I can just jump to that.
I think the question was, does the data stay confidential? And yes, and Marlon's typing in there as well about the securities.
Yeah, but I think it was worthwhile to, if it's, because I'm sure it's a question. So let me just, okay. So let me just go here for a second, if I can just be a little bit here. So with regard to data security, okay, we're using Amazon Web Services, enterprise APIs, guarantees is protected in transit and at rest. We require encryption for network communications of our servers. Store data is using other encryption. So we're using the latest and greatest security systems. We've always said data is gold and it's yours, not training models. So, all right. Is it recommended to start? Is it recommended to start with AI-driven analysis? Okay, so I think we've answered this question. Do you start with AI or start with folks? There's use cases for both. I think. Well, I think I would look for. Am I in a learning setting or teaching setting or in a research setting? Let's see what makes sense there. Okay. Let me, okay. So let me just put this out there. The contact information. How do you get a trial, which you're entitled to, or a customized demo for your faculty? Review the courses or pricing. You can get with Melissa or Ashley, and they can certainly get back with you and accommodate questions or any of these other issues. Okay. Other questions, or we're kind of there? I think we're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for your interest in AI and qualitative research and in qualitative research. So thank you for joining. I do like to say, folks don't really know, a lot of folks don't know, like your colleagues, what the innovations in AI for qualitative research are. So if you know folks that would be interested in this, please share the recording that you'll all get, share our information, and we're happy to provide them with trials and demos and to review the courses as well. So just to please share what you've learned and share what is happening. It's an exciting time to be in this field. I remember back 20 years ago doing these things by hand for a full year, 1 year of my life at a kitchen table with 3 colleagues. So we've come a long way in those 20 years. So people aren't stuck with only doing manual or other kind of clunky-ish tools. Intellectus Qualitative has really sought to step up to help with teaching and learning and with doing comprehensive, rigorous qualitative research. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Melissa. Thanks everyone for responding to these questions and answers, and thanks for your attention. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you all so much.